So that's Mount Rushmore National Memorial. It's commemorating 4 previous presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. So the faces are carved into the granite, and the darker gray rock around it is schist, is a mica schist. So these rocks are the crystalline core of a Precambrian mountain range that would have rivaled the Himalayas, but it's no longer here. So before the mountains were developed in this area, this entire location and most of like the western area was underwater. It was called the Manicaean Ocean. And then you had the convergence and suturing of the Wyoming craton, the Superior and Hearn cratons, which formed the North American craton, also known as Laurentia. So then, because of this orogeny and the suturing of this, melted magma from the core, from the mantle, started to rise up, and it metamorphosed the sand layers that were at the bottom of this ocean into. So it was the mica. It was mica schist, and then the sandstone was turned to quartzite, and then the magma cooled to the granite, which is the granite you see here. But at this time, it wouldn't have been this high up yet. So then, roughly about 1.7 billion years ago, erosion continued, and it removed all the mountain range that was developed in that spot, and then all you had left was the layers of the mica schist and the quartzite, and then underneath that was the granite. And then about 75 million years ago, you had the laramide orogeny, which again uplifted the whole area, and it again forced this intrusion of granite and metamorphic layers above it closer to the surface, along with mud and sands above it. This Dr. Frederick talked about it a little bit yesterday, so some of my thunder, but it was due to the Farallon plate subducting under the North American plate, which you can kind of visualize was like on the west coast of essentially of Laurentia. And the reason we see these mountains so far inland is because of the shallow subduction angle, also called flat slab subduction. And so that's why you know most of the time the mountain ranges are kind of close to where the subduction is occurring, but because it was a flat angle, we're seeing them much farther inland. So again, erosion took place. It removed all that mud and sand that was covering the granite and the metamorphic layers, exposing the metamorphic layers and the granite. And then that formed kind of what we see here, except obviously the faces were kind of carved out of that because the granite's surrounded by the metamorphic layers and stuff like that. But around so you have like a bullseye, like Dr. Frederick said, it's like a bullseye. So in the middle you have the metamorphic layers and the granites, and then there's about like 3 main rings around it. If you're working your way from the center to the outside, you get limestone, shale, and then white sandstone. And then more erosion occurred, which formed the current topography that we see now. And now so if you're looking at the faces themselves, like I said, the granite is the faces, and then below the faces there's 3 different layers of mica schist. The lowest unit is just a mica-rich schist. The middle unit is a mica-rich schist with beds of quartzite, and the top is a quartz mica schist. And now for a little bit of history, like I said, it commemorates 4 presidents: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt. The concept was created by Gutzon Borglum in 1923, and with the help of 400 men and women using dynamite and jackhammers, they carved the faces into the granite. So George Washington was dedicated on July 4th, 1934. Jefferson was 1936. Lincoln was September 17th, 1937, which was the 150th anniversary of the Constitution, and Roosevelt was 1939. Gutzon Borglum died in 1941, leaving the rest of the project to his son until funding ran out and construction halted, and they left it where it is today. And so a little fun fact, little conspiracies about the area. I don't know if you guys have seen the second National Treasure movie. They talk about a Native American city of gold, which a lot of people believe is in those hills over there. although that might not be true, there is a vault in the hills, which some people say is just like a time capsule with relics about the history and the building process of Mount Rushmore, while others believe it holds national treasures and national secrets. Me personally, I believe the government uses it to hide Sasquatch as a home, which is why we never see him.
Totally.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So
That's your hypothesis.
high five. Fact. Probably fact.